Well, good morning again. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt with the American Orthodontic Society, and I have a most interesting palatal separator case here where we used bonded material over the palatal separator, and I made a big mistake and had a lot of concise, which is a real solid bonding material, and I put that over the palatal separator, and that holds the teeth rigid, so when you separate, the roots go with the crown and everything. It worked fine there, but at the end it was a mistake. It took me about several hours to grind all that stuff off the teeth. I could not get it to come loose. So don't use a really super duper concise type of thing to bond this. Just use regular old acrylic. It works better. So let's get on with the case here. It's got some interesting things in it where we did these slices techniques and the pulpotomies on these healthy deciduous teeth to get this to do. So we'll get going here. I'll try to show you what we did. Now, we started out on this young lady when she was a good bit younger, and I'll show you the models we didn't get into doing the separation till she got a little bit older. And this is a mouth breathing, tongue thrusting. Except the tongue thrust is not all that bad. You didn't push these teeth out, but it widened the lower arch. You see how the lower arch is much wider, and the tongue is not used where you got your mouth open, you're breathing through the mouth. The tongue stays in the bottom arch, and the bottom arch widens out, and the airway, which is in the upper part of the upper arch, doesn't widen as it should do, and this makes it even worse, and so the person continues with mouth breathing problem. Now, this was 1985 when we went in to do this, and I'll just show it from each side, but you've got a crossbite that's formed up there, and you wonder why we have so many narrow arches like this. Somebody wrote back and said, well, why did you do the palatal separator on this adult? And if you looked at the models of the case, you'll see that the adult's maxilla is just more narrow, and it fits kind of inside the lower arch here, and the airway is insufficient, and this is a problem that people have for the rest of their life. And that's why it was so important to go in and learn that we can expand adult palates out, even if we don't separate the palatal suture down here. And we also found out that we could separate the sutures on some 40-year-old people in this early 40s, but sometimes you can't, but you can just continue to press out, and you can expand the palates in there. So that was the reason. The person had a airway problem, and it was a mouth problem, a mouth breathing problem, and that gives you a lot of other problems. If you keep the mouth open, the teeth over erupt, and your vertical dimension of this face gets longer, and that's a detrimental thing too. So let's kind of remember all these things as we go through this. Now, they see the bottom arch was considerably wider, if you look at that. And that was widened because the tongue has more effect on the teeth than you think. I mean, it will move the teeth. It's broaden the whole arch out, bone, teeth, and all. I don't care. You just look at this. The tongue can move the teeth around like that. And so we came in, and this is 1987. There's a year's jump back and forth here. We bonded on top of our Palatal Separator. This makes it a very rigid piece of material there, and it carries the teeth apart and it brings the roots with the crowns when you bond that, and that's good. But if you just did it with a soft acrylic, just regular old acrylic, you could pop it off very easily. This is the lower arch in 1987, and here's the young lady in 1990, and we're still in here where we started this whole thing later. I went in. Now, you will see that we come in and use this technique of doing pulpotomies on the teeth. We cut the deciduous tooth down but leave left space for the second bicuspid. Then this tooth will come right in there. You don't have to widen it, take it out or something. And that'll works as a nice space maintainer. And when it gets ready to go in, the whole thing will come out. And you did this over here. And on the same side, we'll show that on the x-rays. You can see that later. This is 1990. We did that. So we started this young lady at 85. And here it is, 1990, and we start to do this. So here it is in 1986. This is a Panorex, and she's 10 years old, 10 and 8 months, and we coming in. We had already done the reduction of the deciduous cuspid, and we did the pulpotomy. And it doesn't matter, you can show the zinc oxide adhesion all out. As this tooth comes in, it'll just break it off as it comes on up into the mouth. Now we're going to come back and trim this and do the pulpotomy and the sides of the mouth. This is something we use, this pulpotomy technique, in doing a lot of this pediatric dentistry. And that's something that I have never had one of these where we did the pulpotomy on them ourselves and packed the zinc oxide usinol in there that ever went bad. They were all on healthy teeth, and I must have done over 1,000 of these things, and I never have had one of them blow up. And you can't really use a rubber dam in there, because you're going to cut right down in the middle of this thing, right like that. So I strongly recommend learning how to do these pulpotomies on healthy teeth. And you just take a sterile burr and just go right down to the bottom with it, clean it out, and let it bleed, let it come on up, and then pack this heavy meshed zinc oxide used also where it's so thick you can pack it like amalgam and pack it in there and see it went all the way down the tooth. Now you don't worry about that, it'll come off and that tooth will come right on in there with that. It doesn't matter if it comes out at the end a little. So here we take the teeth off on the side. We have to take a burr and go in like this and kind of clean that out. And now these teeth come in. Let's see, this was 1989, right in here. And so anyway, we do that reduction of those second deciduous molars. Just leave the root alone here and eat it out, and then dissolve it completely and come on in. Now, she is age 13 and 6. And so the 12-year molar up here is slow. But there's no wisdom tooth up above it. We have wisdom teeth on the bottom that are forming, but these are slow 12-year molars coming in. They're really late. And there's a tooth, there's a wisdom tooth there, but there's no wisdom tooth up here. So anyway, we end up taking these out on the bottom. Now we're going through here. We trim the tissue around that, and I sent her in to get this done. I just have the old surgeon this time just leave the tissue off of that tooth and help it come in. If you have a little trouble getting past that band, you put a separator in there real tight and it'll push it back. It'll come on around behind that. So she's, this young lady is 15 years old and no months. 15, this is 1991. Now here it is, 93, and we finished the upper case, and this is all done now, and this is coming. Now you don't see any roots of any deciduous teeth in there at all. They just dissolve that, and the decoxide usual just comes out and crumbles up. So anyway, we were separating that. And here's 92. We're into the denture, the regular dental area now with these little separate single brackets that we like to use, and I really enjoyed using them over the years, and the ladies working there liked them too. And so we put that in. This is 92, and we went through the case, and here is 98. I think this is a wrong date on this. It couldn't work out that way. Here's 93. We took the braces off the top, and now it's off the bottom too at 93. So that 98 date is a mistake there. I don't know, someone wrote that on there and mistaked it. So this is how wide it, spread it out. But we spread this palate out. This person now has a airway. They can learn to breathe through the nose where it should be done. And here it is, just going back showing you where we took that stuff off, and that was 87, I believe, when we separated. But this is a good way to do a separator. If you're going to just have bars around the thing, you can put this material over those, and that makes it rigid, and it'll carry the roots out. But don't use something like concise. And that I had to take, when I took that out, I had to grind that whole thing, all the pieces. It took me a couple of hours to get that thing off of her mouth. So don't do that. So here we is. This is later on down the line, but the teeth aren't in yet. And you can see that there's where we did the reduction of the deciduous teeth. And this is, I can't tell the age on that right there, but she's got older. Now this is the where you'll go in and do the slicing technique. You have to go in up above and cut that off. And I probably have done way over 1,000 of those things over the years. We sent her in and got the wisdom teeth out on the bottom, and this is she's age 15. And now here's some idea of this model picture. Is a little bigger than the other one, but show you how much we opened this bite. We separated that palate and gave her a lot of airway room, and that way finished the case up. This is 85, that's 90. And I thank you for watching, and this is where the palate ended up, separated, and we carried the roots out. If we didn't, the legal cusp would be a lot lower than that. So you can change the whole life of this person, but you didn't do it overnight. It took several years watching it and working with it. So it's hard for a dental student or somebody in school to go from start to finish on some of these cases where they last for years after that. So thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join our group and subscribe to it. And we're in the American Orthodontic Society, and if you want to learn how to do these things, if you are in the United States, we have programs going on, and there are people that can teach you how to do this. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to close out now.